Hello. Today's insights and ideas that I want to discuss with you concern retirement and retire and retiring. I'm a wordsmith. I've always been a word nut, if you will, someone who just loves the English language, fascinated by words and their various meanings. As I've said in previous episodes of this video blog, um, I'm old enough to be thinking a lot about retirement. I'll be turning 65 in January. That feels like it's going to be here tomorrow. But I'm not rushing the end of summer. It's still summer over here, and it's a beautiful sunny day. So the whole topic is rather new to me, and would like to keep it that way and keep it fresh. So in America, uh, people who retire often are expected to just sail off into the sunset, literally, and begin a life of leisure, taking cruise trips and luxury vacations on cruise boats. At least that's what I was taught. Having been on a cruise ship myself, I could tell you the experience is quite different than what I was led to believe, and it's not just for senior citizens. And all I want to say about the experience of cruising today is the experience of going under the Verrazano Bridge. Okay, because the particular cruise that my wife and my son and I took to Bermuda left from the port of Newark. And if you're familiar with New York Harbor, it's also New Jersey Harbor. It's a large body of water between New York and New Jersey. Um, you have to go under the Verrazano Bridge to get out into the Atlantic Ocean. And that bridge was built in the 1960s, so that is a rather high bridge. And all the boats that traverse New York Harbor from the port of Newark to the Atlantic have to go under the Verrazano Bridge. But as you're approaching the bridge, you really don't know if there's enough room there. And lo and behold, your cruise boat will come within maybe 20 or 50 feet of the base of the Verrazano Bridge, and it is an extraordinary experience. Now, anyone who's into cruising can explain this better than me, but I'm going to just quickly beg your patience while I look up what I just said to make sure that it's even accurate. After all, the topic of this blog video is insights. You can't have insights unless they're based on facts. So I want to make sure I'm talking geographically accurately. So the port of Newark is in New Jersey. And it's where all the cruise ships dock in New Jersey, along with a lot of other cargo, by the way. And to go from there to Bermuda by boat, let's see if Google Maps will even allow me to do that. It's giving me directions from the port of Newark to the Bermuda Triangle. That would be fun. It says they can't really explain how you do that. Be that as it may, I don't need Google to tell me how to do it. And I know I can't do it by bicycle or by car, unless the car were, of course, placed on the cruise ship. I'm going to zoom in here on this amazing Google Maps and see if what I described to you is accurate. It is accurate. So what happens is from the port of Newark, you zigzag around a peninsula that incorporates Bayonne, New Jersey, and then you snake out through a shipping lane past Bayonne, New Jersey, and that's where you find the gosh darn it here. Yeah, that's where you find the Verrazano Bridge. Before you do that, it looks like you have to go under the Bayonne Bridge. Nope, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Absolutely not. I did not leave from the port of Newark. I left from Port Jersey, which is the Cape Liberty Cruise Port, P-O-R-T. And it is a dock that is set up just for luxury cruise boats and for tourists. And there's ample parking over there in Bayonne, New Jersey, right off John F. Kennedy Boulevard, which I know quite well because JFK Boulevard extends from Bayonne all the way up to Jersey City, and I've actually driven on that. So, look, what can I tell you guys? Whoops, sorry for knocking into the microphone. I am a downstate New Yorker through and through. One thing I love about being upstate is when I first got here, which was to say upstate north of Poughkeepsie, I was practicing law in a beautiful, charming city called Kingston, and a lawyer who I still consider a mentor told me, Carp, stop telling everyone you're from downstate. You're in Kingston, you're in Ulster County now. It's a different culture, it's a different vibe. You need to dial it back. And actually, that was wrong advice. As much as I adore that particular lawyer, I'm not going to tell you his name because I disagreed with him. And what I learned after a few years here is that you could take Carl out of downstate, but you can't take the downstate out of Carl. I have a loud mouth, I'm pushy. And one thing about downstate people is they may seem abrasive on the outside, but they have a heart of gold. And this became apparent to me in the months after September 11, 2001, after the terror attack, when most Americans really, really felt sorry for people from New York City. And we were all from New York. And, Rudy Giuliani was America's mayor and all that. And trust me, that experience shaped who I am today. You want to know who Carl Birman is, then you want to replay those videotapes of the Twin Towers collapsing and the fire burning at Ground Zero for several months. Because I lived through all that. I didn't work at Ground Zero. I didn't volunteer to help with the recovery and the rescue. Far, far from it. I was terrified. I was completely traumatized by the experience. But I saw a side of people that I never imagined I would see, and it taught me how New Yorkers are, loving people underneath a surface of toughness. It's actually something I see very often in Schenectady. Schenectady reminds me a lot of New Rochelle, the city I grew up in. It's a smallish city. It's a folksy community. It's an area where everybody gets to know each other quite well. And, New Rochellians don't really stand on formalities. New Rochellians are down to earth. I like to say not snobbish. New Rochelle is very different from Scarsdale, and we all have certain images of places like Scarsdale, Rye, Harrison, Purchase. We've all heard about these wealthy enclaves in Westchester County, Yorktown. There are many others where, you can't even think of living there unless you pull a salary of, 7 or 8 figures or whatever. New Rochelle's not like that. New Rochelle has some rather humble corners and some modest developments, and said its share of poverty and problems over the years. All right. What was my topic today? Oh, yes, retirement. So listen, there are other meanings to the word retirement and retire. And I'm gonna say that there's been days of the week lately where I wish to retire and take a nap. So I think retirement can mean whatever you want it to mean. That's a virtual background that you're looking at of a law library. And once a lawyer, always a lawyer. And once a professional, always a professional until you completely walk away from that given chosen profession. And I ain't ever walking away from my law license. I may walk away from the practice of law, but I will never give up the privilege of every now and then walking into a courtroom and saying, Your Honor, may it please the court. There is nothing more exciting and meaningful to me at this stage. 38 and a half years, 38 and a half years from when I received that Duke law degree, which is on the wall. You can't see it here because this office is rather sloppy today. But that's a long time. And so it gets sort of emblazoned on your persona, and retirement I think is very different in the profession. My father never retired. My father was an academic, so in a way it was easier. My mother, who is 98 and a half years old, is an emeritus professor from Columbia. And let me tell you something, the older she gets, the more her true nature as an academic and as a professor comes to the fore. And my father was the same way. He never retired. He was battling prostate cancer. And he went on medical leave 6 weeks before he died, but he never retired. I will retire. I mean, I will close up this business, the Birman law office here in Albany, New York, but probably around the age of 75. So I've got a good 10 years to go here. And getting back to cruising, it was fun. And it wasn't so much that it was like a thing for the elderly, but it was just, we're just, I don't know, we like to travel and it's not an efficient way to get to a destination. My son is a budding pilot. He will be getting a private pilot license by the end of the year, if not sooner. And I'm down with that. I think the faster you can get to your chosen vacation destination, the better. Because to me, vacation is when I take my travel outfit off and I kick back and I relax, preferably in flip-flops. But if it's a cold weather climate, then, hiking boots or snowshoes or what have you. I ran into a lawyer in court about 6 months ago, and I was in jeans and a t-shirt. And she goes, "Oh, Carl, look at you, incognito." And I was kind of offended. I don't think she meant it that way. I think she was actually trying to be playful about it and tease me about my sloppy outfit. But that's the true Carl Birman. The true Carl Birman is from 5 p.m. till 9 a.m. The true Carl Birman is the guy who hauls compost buckets into my backyard and then puts it into a compost gadget to till the compost or turn the compost until it turns into dirt. The true Carl Birman is the guy who digs the garden every year and plants, this year's been a bonanza crop of sunflowers, excuse me. I mean, literally like 12 feet in the sky, just amazing, gigantic sunflowers. So that's a little bit about retire. I think retirement is a state of mind. I think that's what I'm trying to say. We can all retire from the things that stress us and make that a permanent or a temporary retirement. The world needs more retirees. America needs more people who are retired from the things that they do so well so that they can then recharge their batteries and then de-retire, disretire. I'm making up words here right and left, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm a wordsmith. I'm a word nut. I've always enjoyed the English language. Maybe next time I'll try my French with you guys. Take care. Please click the like and subscribe buttons. Please come back. Whether you found me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, X, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, I don't know. Wherever you found me, now you're on my Insights and Ideas video channel on YouTube. Please stay here. Please come back. Take care.